What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Every Week We Follow. My voice, it's gone. Yes, I've been celebrating for 48 hours, but we have to turn our attention back to the Premier League this Sunday, where we can qualify for the Champions League if we beat Burnley at Turf Moor. So we've got the wonderful Lee, who's our fellow finalist, and we're going to pick this apart and also just give Lee a bit of a platform to vent and talk about the frustrations or the glory days of the Premier League and remembering what it could have been. I don't know. Anyway,
What it should have
Lee.
been.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, all good. I like how you said if we beat Burnley at Turf Moor, it's when you beat Burnley at Turf Moor. This isn't a question of if, it's just a question of when and how many goals do you want to score. That's what everyone's saying, isn't it?
No. Well, mate, prior to Thursday, I was worried about this game. For me, there's no pressure anymore on Burnley, right? It's done, it's dusted. You know you're going down. It's kind of, you can play with a bit of freedom.
Mhm.
It's Whereas the Villa up until Thursday, I was genuinely worried and nervous about where our season was going, because we'd had 3 games where we were awful. Like, it looked like we'd given up. It looked like that we were on the beach. Players just, I don't know. I guess they were saving themselves for that game against Nottingham Forest, right? Because what we saw
Me too.
there, and if that Villa turn up, mate, then I think any team's in trouble. Like, so, I am. I'm hoping that is the team that turn up to Turf Moor to get the job done, because it could be the greatest week in our history. Bar lifting the trophy, obviously, but in terms of qualifying for the final and qualifying for the Champions League in the same week is a pretty good week. And
Yeah,
so
it's not bad, is it?
it's not bad. And considering I was after the Spurs game last Sunday, so what a week, what a difference a week makes. So
Oh, yeah, no one's thanking you for that performance.
yeah, mate, I feel like, if I'm honest, I feel like what I don't think I've ever felt as hated. I've had some comments this week about that performance, about chucking the game, like Premier League corrupt as fuck, and I'm like, look, I was as fuming as anyone. Like, I didn't, I've got a season ticket, but people paid £92 to go and watch that Spurs
Wow,
performance. You know, uh,
it's a shame. It's a shame that your game came so quick in the semi final because most of the league want to see Spurs go down, and no one saw a Spurs victory. But then when that lineup came out and you were just literally walking around, it was just, well, they're going to get the 3 points, aren't they?
right, exactly, mate. Anyone would have beat us on that day. Like, genuinely, I've never seen. It was the worst performance I've seen from a Villa team in 40 years of supporting them. Genuinely, and I've seen some horror
Really?
shows in the relegation kind of year when we got relegated in 2015-16. Um, there was no fight in that team, but I think what was the most disappointing thing about that game was what was riding on it. If we'd have won that game, we would have
Mm.
qualified for the Champions League. And knowing that you had the game against Nottingham Forest then coming up, right? You go, well, we want to go to that with a bit of confidence, right? And
And
uh,
momentum as well.
momentum, absolutely. And football's all about momentum. But it turns out, what do I know? And it's all part of Unai Emery's master stressful plan, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, right? I don't know if my heart can cope with that. Like, just it felt like, I know we're focusing on the Europa League. Well, no, but you keep telling us we're focusing on the Premier League. In the pre-match notes for the game against Spurs, it was we've got to have laser focus on the Premier League. It's kind of this is our passion. The Europa League's not guaranteed. The league position is the most important. And then you put in a performance like that, and I'm like, mate, the words aren't matching the actions. So, I mean, I'm sorry.
Definitely
Like,
not.
this sounds like an abusive partner. No, I really do love you. And she's smacking you in the face. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, I genuinely, after Sunday, I was nervous about this week. I was nervous about
Yeah.
Thursday, and I know that obviously we'd be expected to beat you guys on Sunday, but I just thought, well, if we'd have lost against Forest, for instance, this game would be horrendous to come into. With knowing
Yeah,
that we've got
true.
knowing
True.
that we've got then Liverpool and City to follow. Do you know what I mean? And you
Mm.
go, we just
Yeah,
need.
where you get your points from. I think the only thing you got to worry about is how mentally tired your boys going to be. Are
Hmm.
they going to be switched on? But even if not, I don't think you can be switched on against Burnley at the moment. I think you could turn up with a third string team, I think, and quite easily just walk through us. So I don't think you've got anything to worry about.
Well, I hope that's true, mate. Hey, I wanted to ask you, Lee, obviously, because it's Burnley. I don't know how much this is, a bit of a yo-yo team, right? In the Premier League,
We've become
away
it,
from the
yeah. We've
Premier League.
become it. Like when obviously we've had periods of time we stayed in for 6, 7 seasons under Dyche, and then all of a sudden, since that happened, we've gone down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah,
It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. That
no,
kind of thing just doesn't last. Look at West Brom. Look at Norwich. You can't keep pinging around and hoping that you're going to survive eventually because football moves on so quickly. The Premier League style moves on so quickly, and we're going through managers every year, aren't we? Let's be every
yeah,
2 seasons we're getting a new manager in because we get the promotion success. You give them a go. We leave it too late, and then that manager goes to Bayern Munich somehow. And then you give another manager a go who's great in the championship. He gets you up. We leave it too late. We're relegated. And now we're going to get somebody else in. Who is that somebody else? I don't know. No one
no,
really knows. Is it going to be Gerrard? Maybe. Is it going to be Bellamy? Maybe. No one really knows. And it's all a bit of a. You can't yo-yo forever because eventually you will not. You don't yo-yo and stay up. You yo-yo and you stay down.
no. Yeah, that's a good analogy. I mean, at the start of the season, were you optimistic that Parker would keep you up? Do you think he was the man for the job?
I was cautiously optimistic. We started quite well. I think we beat Leeds, we beat Sunderland, and we're like, well, these are the teams we needed to beat. Those teams in and around us. We beat Wolves. So you think, right, we're beating the 3 teams who are going to be near us. And then since then, we've won, we beat Palace. And that's it, really. I can't remember anyone else we beat in the league. And it all just derailed really, really quickly. Like, I said before, the most frustrating thing is that every single Burnley fan could see from November we had to make a change. Something had to happen then. You've either got to give Parker loads of money and we've got to spend stupid and hope it works and it makes it happen, or you've got to get rid of him then, get someone in for December, see what he's got, transfer window, give it a kick for the last 4 months. We didn't do either. We just got James Ward-Prowse on loan, and that just wasn't going to be enough. He's a good player, but respect to James Ward-Prowse, he's not going to pull a substandard Burnley team from relegation to we might stay up. It just looked like the whole team just gave up. The whole Burnley football club just were like, oh well, we kind of were like, you're going to go down, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to go down. Should we do anything about it? Nah. It felt very much like a case of we could have. It's like the Titanic. We could have missed the iceberg. Should we hit it anyway? Yeah, let's hit it. And that's what it felt like. We just gave up. And the thing is, though, I'm laughing and smiling now. I can guarantee you, December, January, February was probably some of the hardest months I've supported this football club, and I've seen us play some awful games of football. I've seen us lose at Grimsby 6-5 on a Tuesday night in Division 1 when it's pouring with rain. I've seen some terrible games of football. I've seen it play York City, but it's just been insipid. It's just been so bad, and it's just football's meant to take you away from your life, and make the excitement of it. Like you are on cloud nine, regardless of what's going on in your life. You've won that game of football. You go to Europe. I think Saturday. It's just going to be poor. We're just going to lose a game of football, and we're going to probably get kicked around and not even compete. Like even the Palace game we won, we were 2-0 down after 15, 20 minutes, and somehow we won 3-2. Mate, it's just been bad.
Football's madness, isn't it? Because obviously, I said this week on our podcast that actually, and it's not my quote, but I think it was Tom Hiddleston who was on Sky Sports as an Arsenal fan talking about how precious a privilege, basically, right? And to be in the top echelons of the Premier League, competing for, he's talking about Arsenal, but competing for the title, for us, competing for Europe, 4 seasons in a row. I've been critical of Villa this season with various things because, like any fan, I guess we dream of being the best version of ourselves and competing at the highest level, right? And I want to see Villa competing for titles and stuff like that. But then I quickly have to remember that 10 years ago we got relegated and we were in that.
That's the thing,
And we spent 4 seasons in the Championship struggling, and came very close to not being in existence under Dr. Tony's side. And mate, that relegation season 2015-16 was horrific. Like it was like we didn't see a single. I didn't see a single win at Villa Park. We won 1 against Norwich, and I was on holiday, so I missed it. Right, and so that was 18 games I went to that season. Didn't see a single game. It's the first year I took my 4th daughter down after fourth time of trying to get one of the kids involved in football. Right, and she comes with me now, and she's obviously had a magnificent journey from that. But that season she was 7 years old, and I think towards the end of that season, she turned to me and she said, Dad, this is rubbish. I don't think I want to come anymore. Right? And I was like,
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it?
and you go, I can't disagree. And I think I said to her, I said, look, we've just got to keep the faith. We've got to just keep supporting the guys. This is our football team. It's where we live. Like, and, she's got her mates going, you should support Man City. They're great. Or should support Liverpool. They're great. No, that's not happening. Right. You've got no choice. It's in your blood. Not if you want somewhere to live. But Dad, I'm only 7. It doesn't matter. Right.
Have you watched Oliver Twist?
Yeah, have you seen Oliver Twist? And actually so now we've had this journey of Championship to Champions League, and she's witnessed that. So now it's
incredible, isn't it?
And so even I didn't have that at her age. I was supporting the Villa for that, and I didn't see that. We were a mediocre team. Yes, we won trophy, 96 and 94, but it's been 30 years of just floating around middle of the table, relegation, just not really great. And then, but the last 4 years has made us all believe, right? So it can happen, mate, depending on your owners, depending on what happens.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Our owners, I think, have become a bit of an issue. That's where we, as a fan base, are a bit concerned because they came in, they took a big loan against the club, which obviously they do because you've got to build it. Had a great idea. I think what the problem we were victims of our own success. So we got company in and we had a 5-year plan. And I think we were year 3 of that 5-year plan in year 1. And company was very, very good. He got a lot of attention from other clubs. Obviously, with some good players that got a lot of attention. And we've gone up too quickly. And then we weren't able to then recruit correctly. I think we panicked. Yeah. And it just causes this problem. And obviously now our owners own Espanyol. And it's like, how can you own 2 football clubs? And we're your first toy to play with. Now it's like, that one's broken, I go buy another toy. And that's where the disconnect. That's the thing. This is the disconnect between the club and the play and the fans. It's the worst I've ever experienced. The worst experience. It's horrible. Yeah. It's horrible. It's like the manager calling us teenagers and calling us children, and it's just like, what you saying? What you doing? We're your club. Without us, you're nothing. You're absolutely nothing.
I think that's what you have to remember, right? And again, going back to that previous position, that's why I'm so. I feel bad for ever complaining after Thursday, if I'm honest, because it's kind of like, actually, we've got it good, man. And this might not last forever. I don't know what's going to happen in the summer. There's lots of speculation. So I'm just going to enjoy it while we can. I think for you guys, I mean, what, as a fan then, with that, you talk about that disconnect and you talk about, obviously, the yo-yo team and you usually stay down. For next season, like, what's the plan? If there's no disconnect, what's the hope? Bounce straight back up.
The hope is to bounce back again. Of course, it is. Obviously, there's now going to be 8 teams in the playoffs next season, which I think is farcical. That shouldn't be a thing. Yeah. I'm looking at the teams that have come up. Obviously, Coventry have come up, Millwall have come up, and obviously now got who's in the no Millwall haven't come up, have they? It's Coventry, Ipswich. You've got Millwall, Hull, Southampton, and Middlesbrough in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I watched the game last night. Terrible. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not watching the game now because we're on this. But I just think there's not that many great teams that are in there. If we can keep a good base of players, we will go back up. But there's a massive bet on this. What's the point in going back up than just deal with on this season? I've got friends who live in Norwich. I've got friends who are Norwich fans who are up and down and up and down. Like, we hate being in the Premier League because it's just you just go along and just go, oh, if you let the first goal in, we're going to lose, aren't we? Yeah. And it's that kind of sinking feeling every single time. And it's like, we prefer to be the Championship because, we play Tuesday, Saturday. We play more games. Anyone can beat anyone. And it's exciting. There's so much more. And you go on a run, you can get into the playoffs or whatever it may be. So I'm going to sound like a spoiled child, but it's like a case of, let's just sit in the Championship for a couple of seasons, find out who we are as a club, what players want to stay with us, who wants to play for Burnley because we're in the Championship and not I could go play for Burnley and I could be in the Premier League next season to bolster their careers. We need players who want to play for us and who want to stick around because so many players disappeared after Company. I think a lot of players will disappear after Parker because they just want to stay in the Premier League and go to bigger places.
Yeah.
We've got to finish the top 8 next season. Imagine if a team doesn't finish the top 8. I know, obviously, Leicester have gone down again and teams can go and go and go. It's going to depend on who we get in terms of manager. And recruitment is going to be so key now, even more so than it has been in the previous seasons, because we've got to recruit and not put people on massive wages and put people who want to play for Burnley, who want to challenge for a place, and not think we're going to go up next season. It's it's a horrible place. Like I've not going to Turf Moor at the moment. I'm not spending. It's a long way for me to go. I've not
Yeah,
seen us win a game all season live. I've seen this on TV, beat Palace. That's the
yeah,
only game I've seen us win all season. The rest of it, I've
yeah.
spent hundreds of pounds to just watch us play awful football. Awful football.
That's it. And I've had a couple of arguments about this. I don't know if you're the same with your fellow Burnley fans, but and you I guess you almost tarnished with a negative brush, but I don't think it is when you're like to follow a club blindly, right? Is just stupid for
Mm-hmm.
me, right? I think that's stupid. Just support them regardless. Well, no, yes, to a certain degree, right? Because I've been a Villa
Yeah.
fan for 40 years, but the the whole point of being a football fan for me is that you want to see your team develop, get better, and work to,
Mm-hmm.
like I said at the start,
Mm-hmm.
to be the best version of themselves they can be, right? So, like you've just highlighted there, you want players that want to play for the shirt, that want to kind of,
Mm-hmm.
bring the club forward. You then need owners that are willing to invest in the right way, and I mean, it's not a rarity, but they're all gunning for that big prize, aren't they, of staying in the Premier League,
Yeah.
playing Champions League football, and we all know that's not there for everyone. Right, so
It's not.
but if
It's not possible for a club like Burnley. Like I
yeah,
supported Burnley when we were in Division Two, and we'd scrap around and we'd try and get to 50 points to survive.
yeah,
That's how I was brought up as a Burnley fan. That was it. We try and get to safety, and we'll probably finish in the bottom half. We finish around 15th to 20th, or whatever it may be. And then suddenly, like you were saying, you as Villa fans have you got relegated. You're now in Champions League football. Then suddenly we got into Division One, the Championship, and then we won the playoffs. And then suddenly we've been in this role since 2009 where we've been competing. We've been there or thereabouts the whole time. And this is now probably the worst I felt about my club since I started supporting them.
yeah,
That's how bad it is
it
because
is.
I was 7 year old when I first. I mean, don't really understand at 7. Do you just go along and you shout because your dad shouts? But
Yeah,
then you start earning like 11 years old. You kind of you understand the DNA, and you think, right, I'm proud to be a Burnley fan. Quite at the moment, that's nothing to be proud about. There's no
yeah.
fight. There's no grit. There's no heart. There's no pounding of the chest. It's almost a case of, oh well, we lost a game of football, didn't we? And then Park will go, oh, game of fine margins. How can you say it's a game of fine margins when you're losing 4-0? If it's fine margins, Scott, why are you not fixing it? If you keep losing every game, if they're fine margins, what are you doing midweek? What are you doing during the week to training? And that's the frustration. It's just
Mate,
we're just
100%.
kind of at a loss.
It's all smoke and mirrors for me. Like I said at the start, right?
Yeah,
Whether you're in
it
a
is.
relegation battle, whether you're in a title challenge, right? It's and Guillaume Balakai said this week, right? About because there were lots of Villa fans being negative, about the Forest game. Hey, we're going to get knocked out. We've been poor. Like it's like we haven't got the
Yeah.
bottle to get. Oh, we bottled it in the semi-final against Palace last year. We bottled it in the semi-final against Olympiacos the year before. This will be the third semi-final if we lose. And Unai Emery hasn't. Literally people criticising Unai Emery and.
Wow,
And
that's
I
bonkers.
know, mate, it's madness, isn't it? Right. And then, and Guy Balagay, who wrote the book about him, Rise of the Villains, has kind of like came out on Twitter and he put, look, you've got two elements to football. You have the fan side, which is driven by emotion and kind of,
Yeah, yeah,
and tribalism and
correct.
that blind supporting, right? And then you've got obviously the reality of it, which is, it's a technical sport that requires
Business.
business, yeah, and understanding and kind of like the layman work and the I guess the challenge is to link that gap. And the reason why all this exists in social media for analysis, all that kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff, is because that grey area allows us all to kind of talk about it, right, and
Mm-hmm.
all to kind of have our opinions and all to kind of, I guess what is actually going on at your club, right? But we all
Oh
know
yeah.
that you're never going to get the truth of terms of what it is because from I don't know about you, but as a football fan, all I want to say, and this is why people follow football for me, and like whether you're a Burnley fan or whether you support someone like Mansfield in League One, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
local to your team. It's not about necessarily competing at the highest level. It's about watching 11 players go out there and play for the shirt. And if you see
And
that,
compete at their level, and it's
yeah,
competing at their
and
level. Yeah,
compete
exactly.
at that level, right? And you come away going, yeah, I've bloody enjoyed that. What a game!
Yeah.
Everyone's left, and that's all I ever want to see. And when you don't see
Mm-hmm.
that, right, I think it
Mm-hmm.
gets harder when you go in the Premier League because they're paid so much money that at the
Yeah.
very least they should do is come in and show that they're athletes. And when you watch them
And
walk
that's the
around the
thing.
pitch,
That's the thing. It's exactly what you're saying. That's the thing is that even if you're bad, even Burnley are not a good side of the Premier League. Then the players
yeah,
aren't as good as the Villas and all that. But we know that. But try, like,
Yeah.
like as like parents say to their kids, at least give it a go. At least try your hardest. And I think, like I say, if we're in League Two and we were competing as hard as we could against those teams, I'm going to support Burnley as much as I do now, as I'm sure
Yeah.
you will with Villa. Because
Yeah.
Burnley are never going to win. We're not going to win the Premier League. We might do one day if pigs can fly, etc.
You never
It's not
know,
going to
mate.
happen. You never know. Leicester did, didn't they? But
Yeah.
if we're trying, I do not actually care that much if we lose. I don't care if we get relegated, but I want to see 11, 15, however many men go on that pitch in that game, giving 100% because there's 20,000 fans there who would give anything to put on a pair of boots for that club and just be on
Absolutely.
that ground and sit in that changing room and be an actual Burnley fan, a Burnley player.
Yeah.
And that is where we haven't had it. It just looks like they're just going through the motions and they're not actually fighting for every single point. If we lose 4-0 to Man City or whatever, so be it. But as long as we
Yeah.
try it, I don't give a monkeys. I don't like.
Mate,
And then, if the final comes up and you lose 3-0, but you've played as those players are giving everything, it's sad you lost 3-0, but they gave it a go.
yeah. Mate, if you get beat by the better team, you get beat by the better team. There's no
It
shame in
happens.
that, right? But you
It
don't do it
happens.
lying down. You can't.
No.
And I think because, and this is why I don't understand when people go, "Oh, we've had a lot of, keep the faith." Like, yes, look. Let's start with the foundations of. I trust in the players. I trust in the manager. They're good players. He's a good manager. However, like I said, just that the actions aren't matching the words that are being said.
Yeah.
So that
Frustrating,
now I'm feeling disconnected because if you're going, well, just keep the faith and actually we've got a plan and just keep we know what we're doing. Like this week, Unai Emery's press conference, as an example, on Wednesday, he said we've done really well to get to the semi-final this year, right? So if we don't win it, it's not if we don't get through to the final, it's not a defeat. And I was like, that's not what I want to be hearing the night before a massive semi-final, right? And this time last year when we played PSG in the Champions League, after we lost at their place, his press conference was, "We're going to beat them at home," right? And I was like, "We're going to beat them at home," and we did. Right, we didn't go through overall, but
but you gave it a go. That's what you need. You want to hear him banging that drum. You managed to be banging the drum, shouldn't they?
Exactly, but then the players matched the actions. I mean, the words. The players they did what he said, and then before the game yesterday, in the on Thursday, sorry, in his post match notes, he basically said the players know what they've got to do, and it was really kind of positive. I thought, mate, just say that at the press conference. Well, we'll all believe then. Like you've just put that in. So. And it's the same as you go down through all of it. Like, you see teams that are in relegation battles like yourselves who, what they don't do is consistency, right? Because you'll have 20 minutes in a game where you'd probably be on top and you play really well and you go, okay, we've just got to, you can do it. So how do we replicate that for...
Yeah.
And it's not about because when the pundits pick it apart about whether they need to do X, Y, and Z, for me it all comes down just to the energy levels. Like you win football matches by outworking your opponents.
That's what Dyche did for us.
Yeah,
that's
mate.
What Dyche did. We weren't silky. Yeah, so we weren't silky. It was Brexit football, wasn't it? We were playing anti-football, but we outworked teams. Remember we beat Chelsea 3-2 first game of the season, and after they'd won the league, and we just outworked them. They had 2 players sent off. That's irrelevant.
No.
But we outworked them. Now we had beaten Man City a long time ago. We outworked them. We beaten yourself. We outworked.
Yeah.
That's what we did. But we haven't got the skill to outwork teams. But we're not then trying to do that. And I can sit here for 4 or 5 hours just completely lamenting the whole team and just saying how awful we've been and how bad it's been as a season. But I don't want to get upset.
No, well, and that's what I mean. I think it's just the smoke and mirrors thing because that's where the disconnect comes from. Me, you go, okay, like you said, most fans aren't going to worry about whether you get relegated or how many football matches you win, as long as everyone is giving it 110%. And when they don't do that, that's when I'll start asking questions, and you get batted off with kind of, there's these problems, it's financial issues, right? Okay, I understand that's all part of football, right? And I get it, but ultimately on the pitch, it's down to the mentality of the players and the manager.
Doesn't make a difference, does it?
It doesn't make sense to me. These aren't like some random guys you're picking off the street. You fancy a kick around on a Saturday? We need a player.
Yeah.
These are professional athletes. They're professional people, so they know what they're doing, right? They know how to apply themselves, and they can either choose not to or choose to do it. So it's a conscious choice for me. Now don't be wrong. Football psychology is there, right? I'm not saying these are human players who have lives and families and all that kind of stuff, and there's no way that doesn't impact them. But that's why you get paid the big bucks. right?
Yeah, and we'll go to work, don't we? But you can put some of that stuff
Yeah,
behind you. It's just the
like
way it is.
I've been frustrated this season. Like the Villa players have come out and slagged off the crowd, and they've it's difficult in this world of social media when everyone's having a go at us, mate. Why the fuck are you looking on social media? In fact,
Yeah, exactly.
At fans' opinions, like why would you give a shit? You're a multi-millionaire living in everyone's dream,
Yeah.
right?
If
What
that's a
I think
problem, if that's
about
a, I know, don't cry about it. If that's a problem, just come off of it. Like,
no, and don't get me
I know
wrong,
that
mate.
isn't the answer, but
No, but I'm not talking about people being abusive. Like if that's
oh no, no, no,
no. I'm talking about
that's
people having
draw
an
the line.
opinion on
Yeah,
someone's
criticizing. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
and they go, it's really hard. Like, mate, come on. Like, let's be honest, right? Is it like if that's the only work-based drama
yeah,
you've got, right? Just go away and work at it. But so that's been my biggest frustration as a Villa fan. But going into this game on Sunday after Thursday, obviously it makes you realise that with you guys being relegated, that we've got nothing to complain about, and that actually,
yeah.
if we win this game on Sunday, qualify for the Champions League, trip to Istanbul for this Europa League. If we win the Europa League, mate, this will be the greatest season
I
I've ever
think you
seen at
will.
Villa
I think
Park.
you've got a big. I think you've got a massive chance. I think
Yeah,
we've got. I think Palace have got a chance in their conference final. I think you've got a big chance. I think
yeah.
we could have 3 England champions of Europe. I
And
really think we could.
I think that'll be the first time ever. I think. I don't think
Yeah, if
it's ever
any,
been
I think
done.
any country's ever done that. I think we could.
Yeah.
I honestly do. And I think that'd be incredible. And I wish all the best to any team that are in the final. Go win it for us. Go bring home some silverware to England.
Yeah, absolutely. My me and my wife were talking about this, and it's quite funny actually because in the last 12 months since we've been doing the finalysis stuff, my wife's not into football. Never has been. Right. In fact, I would go so far when we met. She hated it. She liked the fact that I played because it kept me fit and kind of all
Yeah,
that kind of jazz.
yeah.
But like watching it and going the Villa, we've had kind of God, this takes you away from us at the weekend, and we've had lots of like not arguments but debates over it over the years. And in the last 12 months, mate, she's become this football fan, and it's just brilliant
Yeah, no,
because I like.
it's great to see, isn't it? It's great to
And
see.
this is what it is because it's not just about the football, right? It's about the meeting
No,
people, it's
it's
about the
not.
community,
Yeah,
it's about the tribalism.
exactly.
It's not just about the game. And lucky enough, my wife came to the game on Thursday, and like honestly, she just hasn't shut up talking about it. Like
It's
since,
infectious, isn't it? It's
well, mate.
infectious.
When we got back on Thursday night, mate, I was wired. I've never been so wired. I couldn't sleep. I was
Can't sleep, can you?
I watched the highlights back. They weren't even going in. I was watching it. It felt like I was in some sort of dream. And my wife was like, "Look, I've got to get to bed. I've got a 7:30 a.m. meeting." I said, "Look, I'll be up in a minute. I've got to de-stress. I need to kind of,
Yeah,
you know." Anyway,
unplug.
about an hour later, I come up to bed and she's watching. She's put it on the TV and she's fallen asleep to watching it on the TV. And I'm like, the amount of times that she said to me, "Why are you've just been the game? Why are you watching the highlights?" And I'd be like,
Yeah,
"Well, because it's a different view." And
yeah, exactly. I want to see how good that goal actually was.
and mate, and to see her kind of living it like the way I do, like I fall in love with her all over again. I'm like, you are the
Yeah, I
best wife in the
know.
world. This is it complete. Like we can share
Yeah,
my special interest.
yeah,
So long may it continue, and that's what you've got to do. And I think hopefully for you
yeah.
guys, mate, like going back to the championship, that's what it's about, right? It's about still having those moments with your family and your friends, and
Oh, exactly,
and
exactly.
hoping
And
that
it's a
you
great
can.
moment. Like when we won the cup, when we won the league at Ewood Park under Company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched that Manuel Benson goal thousands of times, and the reaction, and just watching. You can't beat that kind of thing, and that's what I've got to look forward to. We've got the derby again next season, big derby. That's what that's going to be. We get to play Norwich, which is 3 miles down the road from my house.
No.
My mates are all Norwich fans, so there is positives to take from it. I just wish we were going down with a bit more something like
Yeah.
I'd
Of
rather have
course.
gone down like on the last day of the season and given it a go rather than we were relegated November. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We knew we were going down November, December, and I think we're going down bottom. I think Wolves will overtake us.
Oh really? Oh wow.
Yeah, oh,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Oh
oh
wow.
yeah.
Mate, I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen because obviously it's the Wolves and
Of
they're
course
dead
not,
dry.
but I
So
think they will.
yeah.
You heard it
Um,
here first.
Exclusive from Lee. So you mentioned those managers earlier, mate. Before we get into our starting lineups and talk about the
Yeah,
game on Sunday, Gerrard, that's the connection. I heard that in the mirror. Like, obviously, we
yeah.
had him at Villa. I I was so sceptical when he started at Villa because obviously loved him as a player, superb player, world class
Hmm.
player. But from my experience at Villa, not a world-class coach. And this is something that always sticks with me. So just as a word of warning, I'm not saying he's not got the potential to be a good manager, because he did well at Rangers, right? But at Premier League level, just after he got the sack from Villa, just after we lost to Fulham 3-0, and the players had obviously he'd lost the dressing room, and I think he's admitted that himself, right? He tried to, be old school. It didn't work. I met the team at Acorns Children's Hospice, right? And and I met John McGinn, and I said to John McGinn, because I just thought, you know what, I might not meet you again, so I'm just going to shoot my shot, right? And I was like,
"Will you marry me, John?"
Yeah, please be mine. My wife would take him. I asked him, like, so Steven Gerrard, was he really as bad as he looked on, like, in real life? And he looked at me and he smiled and he went, no comment, right? And it spoke 1,000 words to me. Now, John McGinn on Thursday, after in his post-match comments, praised Gerrard and said he made me captain, right? And he's thankful for that, right? Which is probably the only one thing he could say that was factual about Steven Gerrard. Like, even that was a controversy, because he stripped Tyrone Mings of the captaincy at the time when he was only our best player, and I think that was the first nail in Steven Gerrard's coffin, because I think he lost the dressing room going, well, Tyrone's so well liked within the club and within the dressing room. Why are you stripping him of the captaincy? And then he came out. I remember we lost to Bournemouth on the opening day, and I think the interviewer said, "Oh, no Tyrone Mings in the squad today. Is he okay?" And what's that? And he said, "Well, if Tyrone Mings wants to play, he needs to come to look me in the eye and speak to me." And I think the whole of the media room just went silent. And I was on TV, I was going, "What the fuck is that? What's he on about?" Search all online. Have they had a falling out or something? Nothing online. So obviously something, stripping him of the captain, whatever it was, and I think everyone was bemused. And then obviously the style of football just went rapidly downhill very quickly, and he turned very quickly. So I guess the question is, would you take him?
I would, and the reason I would is because, like I said, I want a season in the Championship. I want a full season in the Championship to kind of bring the whole club back to a bit of reality and remember where Burnley Football Club have come from. Because 20 years ago, Burnley Football Club in the Premier League was like, what? What, Burnley in the Premier League? It wouldn't happen. I was reading my Levers book when I did my GCSEs the other day, and my mate's a Norwich City fan. He said, "You never know, you might see Burnley in the Premier League," and like loads of laughing faces. I was just like, yeah, you're right. It was never going to happen. Because I think if he can do what Lampard has done, and he's learned, because obviously Lampard did very well at Coventry season before last, almost got them, didn't he? He almost got them. But he actually took a lot on board that season, became a lot more of a better presence on. He wasn't so hot-headed on the side of the pitch. And I think maybe Gerrard needs one of those, just a season just to get his feet under the table, and then we go again. Because is Lampard going to be the next Parker, good in the Championship? Can't do it in the Premier League. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's far too early to say, and it'd be horrible for me to say that. But maybe he might be. But maybe Lampard's learnt more, and maybe Gerrard just needs that. He needs to be in a league where he's not expected to necessarily win it, but a little bit of pressure to learn and kind of go, right, this is our target is top 8 next season for promotion. I'll take that. If someone said to me now, you're going to finish the top 8 next season and be in playoffs, I'm like, yeah, all right, take it.
Yeah,
that'd be great. And see what happens.
And maybe Gerrard could be a good fit for that, right? Because I think one
see what happens.
Because with his experience as a player, that can motivate other players. I think that could motivate players, and like you say, without the pressure of the Premier League and having to win and compete at the highest level, just like you say, it gives him a chance to learn his craft, right? Because I think somewhere in there, I mean, my only concern, the other thing to think about with Gerrard is that when he was there, from by all accounts, he had what was his name? Beale, what's his first name? Who went on to be QPR manager, and he was the assistant manager. And I think he basically took charge of all the coaching. And I think that was, again, one of the disconnects, that Steven Gerrard wasn't very present,
You need that. You need to be there.
I agree. Look, I'm just judging on Unai Emery, knowing that he's literally pulling the strings of everything. I don't know how that guy sleeps, because I think he just lives and breathes it, right? And that's the extreme. That's the elite mentality, right? We all think we've got, but actually, when it comes to doing that, it's sacrifice and to get to the top. And we've got a massive summer ahead of us. I hope that we can come out of it relatively unscathed. You know, there's rumours flying around that Madrid want him. I don't think he'll personally go. I think he'd be mad too, but you know, he's got.
I think if Villa fits in well, because obviously when he was at Arsenal, wasn't it? It was too much for him.
Well,
yeah, it was too much for him, I think.
Look, the only one I was worried about potentially was Man United because. But it looks like Carrick's got a great shot of being offered that job. Only because I think Man U would probably give him a little bit more control than Real Madrid would. But at the Villa, he's got complete control, mate. He controls and dictates. And I think if he wants his, this is a quote from another podcast. If he wants his daughter to be the tea lady, then she's got a job. Do you know what I mean? Like it's from top to bottom. It's kind of
that's good.
And it is good. And it takes a while. It takes 4 seasons. Now we know that we are massively restricted financially in what we can spend because of PSR and SC. Well, it's more the squad cost ratio. We've been punished for qualifying for Europe for 3 seasons in a row because
that's a joke. It's a joke.
That squad cost ratio goes down every year, and you go, well, that's not fair. How's that fair? So we need to qualify for the Champions League again next season to allow those shackles to start to come off, right? Because it's all about. It's mental. They don't want you in the top 6, mate. Like you go. We've got the final.
Not teams like Villa. Not teams like Villa.
We're in the Midlands, aren't we? So that's no good.
Yeah,
it's got to be north or south. Oh, yeah. So, and they don't want it. You know, I don't know. We'll have to wait. See, I don't want to be too cynical on that. But we've got a great opportunity to do it, and an owner and 2 owners that are fully behind it. You know, so if we
they're invested, aren't they?
If we can keep Unai Emery, it doesn't matter about the players we've got. He's a great coach. He develops players. That's what John McGinn said about him after the game on Thursday. You know, his comments about Gerrard are followed by, "I'm a better player because of Unai Emery," and that's what he does. He makes
massive. That's a massive compliment.
So you know, there's rumours that Morgan Rogers may leave, and if these players go, like Rogers may well go and start the World Cup, and if he does, there's no doubt people are going to come knocking. If we were to get offered 100 million, I'd take it right now, mate, and just try and rebuild, right? As long as Unai Emery stays, that's otherwise we don't know what happens. But for now, I'm just going to bask in the glory of going to Istanbul, right? And
potentially love it. You'll enjoy it. I love it.
The first European trophy in 42 years, mate.
Imagine that.
2 when we won the European Cup, so I don't remember it. So it would be a magnificent thing. Anyway, right, let's get back to Sunday, mate. We'll go into our lineups because I know we drifted away. For me, we'll go through yours first, but I'm hoping that Villa more or less keep an unchanged side. But I'm intrigued because I asked you for your lineup, and you were like, it doesn't really matter. So. Let's have a look at it and talk us through it. Who are the danger men? Who have we got to look at? I don't know if they're in the right.
We did this about 6 months ago, didn't we? I was like, he's a danger man. He's really good. He's going to be great. Yada yada yada. And we were rubbish.
Different mentality now.
Fleming. Someone's got to buy him. If you're a Premier League club who's going to be mid-table, he'll get like a. I know Brighton aren't mid-table anymore, but like a Brighton, Bournemouth aren't mid-table anymore. But someone mid-table should get him. He scored 12 goals this season in the Premier League.
That's
12.
Mad. Yeah.
In a Burnley team who've scored 30 odd. He's a shining star. Other than that, mate, I look at that squad and it got me so excited at the start of the season. I'm looking at it now and I remember thinking, he'll be really good. Chalmers will be great. Ward-Prowse, Anthony, all these players have got flair. Yeah. I look at it now and just think, he's average. Don't mind if he doesn't start. Don't mind if he leaves it in the summer. One to look out for is Fleming will be good. Hartman's quite good coming off as left wing back. Walker, if he's let go up and down the wing, he's pretty good.
Yeah,
but he's really it's sad, mate. Because I actually look at it and think, I don't think anyone in there you need to worry about. I think there's no one that they need to go. He's really tricky. He's really good. He's good in this situation. Ward-Prowse is obviously his set pieces. It's all about his delivery. Yeah, if we're going to score goals, it's going to be set piece. That's what I think it'll be a set piece or it'll be a breakaway. That's what it's going to be. We're not going to put loads of pressure on you. It's never going to happen. We're going to sit, we'll obviously play a low block and we'll try and beat them a counter and try and, like I say, get a goal from a free kick or a throw in or something like that. That's all we can really do. And it'll be, and if Fleming doesn't score, we probably won't score. I'll put it that way.
So, has this been your general formation all season? 4-5-1. Is that what you?
It changes all 5 at the back, and then you play Hannibal slightly in front, but he's on and off an injury. It's kind of like that. It's been it's been a 4-5-1 or a 5-5-1-3, whatever it is. It's been a little bit like it's been very been set up not to letting goals. We've netted like 70 odd goals. It's
Mate,
been a little bit.
I feel like this therapy session is just reliving trauma for you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it has. It's making it worse. The thing is like we had Parker. Obviously, Parker's now gone, but I'm going to slag him off a bit more now. Is that he never got a solid starting 11. This formation would change every kind of week. He'd be like, "What is our style of play? What are we trying to do here? Are we trying to not let in goals and get a counter attack goal and try and win games 1-0? Are we going to go head to head and try and take on a team?" It was just all over the place. We just didn't know what was going to happen. This lineup could be very, very different to what it actually will be tomorrow. It depends what Jackson's feeling like. It really will be like that. Who's up for it? Who's fit? If he wants to give you guys a go, if he wants to try and score some goals, we've got nothing to lose now. So you never know. He might play some more attacking football. But yeah, it's been one of those that formation changes, but ultimately the result has always been the same. We always lose.
Well, mate, I've always been a fan of Michael Jackson, so I'm a little bit nervous if he turns up and no. So in the seasons under Scott Parker, mate, where is it? Because you said like at the start you were optimistic about this squad of players.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. What has been the downfall then? Is it just a lack of? Is it what we talked about, a lack of energy, or is it just the fact they're not good enough? Is it the system? Is it what's the main downfall?
It's impossible. It's so impossible hard to say. But for me, it's been you look at we go 1-0 down, 2-0 down, whatever it is, and it doesn't really make any substitutes. The tactics don't seem to change, and he just hope something happens. I think he just hoped that something would change. And I don't know because what was really weird when he left, the players all came out and said he's a great manager. It's this, he's that, he's the other. I'm like, are we being gaslit here? Like, what's going on? Is he actually the best thing that happened to Burnley, and we've missed it all, and us found the problem? But it's like if he was such a great, I think he's a great man. I think Parker as a bloke sounds like he's a great bloke. He does sound like a real nice, genuine guy. But I don't think he's a Premier League football manager. And the thing is, we're never going to know what it was. We're not going to know if the players weren't good enough, or if it was the manager. We just haven't got given that opportunity. So the answer to that is I'm going to put it all at Parker's door until we got to the point where the chairman sort of let him go in November, December. Then it's the chairman's fault from there. He should have just put the sword down on Parker and said, "Sorry, mate, you're off." Yeah. Because he got rid of Dyche for less. He's like, Dyche's one was a lot better than Parker's one. He got rid of Dyche for less. So we never know. I'm going to have to say it's Parker, aren't I? Because we never got another manager in to see what they could have done.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating. It is a question that's just popped into my head off that. Is Dyche available? Would you have him back?
I would. The fan base would, but Sean Dyche would not come work for somebody who sacked him. I don't think Dyche, that kind of bloke, would go, yeah, you sacked me for doing okay because you wanted this nice shiny toy, which was obviously the company at the time. You got rid of the old guard for the new guard. I don't think he'd do it. If it was a different ownership, yes. I think if he'd left and he'd been poached by Everton and got the job and left us and wasn't sacked, yes. I think Sean Dyche should be sat there if that phone rings, goes, "No thanks, Alan. Alan Page, you can keep ringing as much as you want, mate. I'm never answering that phone to you, pal."
And there you go. It's a shame because I think,
I'd love him back at that club.
Well, mate, whenever I think of Burnley, I instantly go to Sean Dyche. It was
got us to Europe, didn't he? Got us into Europe.
Unbelievable, like the promotion to European football. It's a fairy tale story, right? So
exactly.
You got to love those moments. Anyway, onto the Villa squad then, mate. Now look, I'm going to get some stick for this because I think I've only made one change: Maatsen for Digne. Right, that's the only one.
Played for us at Ian Maatsen.
Yeah, I would just like to see that squad who more or less started on Thursday come out for the first half, get the job done, right? Score 2 goals and then change them all around, right? And then give them the Liverpool game off so they can rest for the European final. Right?
Agreed.
That's what I'd love to see. Because you mentioned about mental tiredness, I'm hoping that it's just like we are as fans, being mental euphoria and take that energy that we had on Thursday into another half an hour, 45 minutes of just going at Burnley. Because if like you said, you'll play a low block, and in order to do that, the only way we can get through low blocks is if we play with tempo. We haven't done that all season. Like I say, prior to to Thursday, mate, we look like we could be beat by anybody. And if that Villa
Yeah.
turn up, Bournemouth, you've got a great chance. If you frustrate us and we can't break you down, you'll have a great opportunity on the counter attack. And with Ward-Prowse from set pieces, I think he's still a danger man, mate. He always has been great at set
Oh, he
pieces.
delivers a great ball in. He delivers
He
a
does.
really good ball. There's no doubt in that.
So, I'm hoping Watkins with his war wound will be healed, and that seems to have knocked some sense into him because arguably, I said on a podcast yesterday that I thought he had a world-class performance against Nottingham Forest. I haven't seen him that good since 23, 24. He was absolutely unplayable. He was everywhere, mate. He was closing everything down. His touch
Hungry,
was
wasn't
good. He was hungry, and I haven't seen that this season. In fact, I've been so hypercritical of Ollie Watkins, going, we need something better if we're going to be at the highest level. But if he plays like that week in, week out, mate, I'd take him. He should be playing at the highest level because that's what it's required. But you've got to do it consistently. There's no point having a one-hit wonder and then going missing for 20 games. So that's key for me. Obviously, Morgan Rogers, mate, he's a massive threat, but he looks fucked. Honestly, I don't know why he didn't play last Sunday and rested, because he did okay on Thursday, but honestly, by the second half Thursday, you could tell he was blowing. Like, he's played over 100 games in this calendar year. He's the first Premier League player to do it. Well, not Premier League games, 100 matches. That's international games as well. So, and European games.
All the travelling as well. It's a lot.
It's a lot, right? And the reason why I bring that up was because before the Bayern PSG game, the Champions League in midweek, right? They were talking about their winter breaks and how the players are rested, and that the top players for both teams, like I think it was for PSG, they played something like 30 games this season. Right, they've been rested in the league and stuff, and they've been saved for the Champions League, so they're fresh and ready to go. Right, and because that's where the big bucks are. Harry Kane and co. Why he scored 50 odd goals? He's only played for like nowhere near the same amount of games. Like, it's kind of
they won the league weeks ago, so they haven't got to play him.
They ain't going to play him. Like, they have the winter break, so they get 2 weeks off over the winter to. So there's something to be said there, and I just hope that the fatigue doesn't get us, because it was a massive effort on Thursday, right? But we need another massive effort on Sunday to qualify for the Champions League. And I just think if we can do it one more game, right, in a team that are already relegated, and obviously talking to yourself, look, we should beat.
You should walk through a 2 or 3. You should do that. Yeah, you really should.
We should. And on paper, that's always a good thing. But I've still got. Until we win this Europa League, mate, I'm going to have PTSD of getting over the line, because it's been so close and so nearly. And even John McGinn said in his press conference after the game on Thursday, we don't want to be known as the Nearly men. So now is the time to be standing up and be counted for. Like, if you can do that in one game, let's see one more, even just half of football, to blow Burnley away, win the game, rest the players, and go win that Europa League on the 20th of May. And if we can do that, mate, I'm getting a tattoo of that Every Week We Follow symbol in the corner that you can see up there, right? That's going somewhere on my body. I might do a bit of social media. You can ask me where. It's not going to go in the middle of my forehead.
I want on the chest, a massive chest piece, or a back piece. Just back
piece. So either way, it's happening.
I'll pay for it. I won't pay for it, but I'll say I will.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, like it's all to play for, mate. I feel for Burnley because, chatting to people like yourselves, like, I always, when you come across level-headed fans, and you don't come across many of them, mate, you don't, right? It makes you think what could have been. I think Burnley, from what, again, like I said about being linked with Sean Dyche, we're always a club that I respected and thought, because of what you said, the DNA was we work hard, we outwork teams, and that for me, that's where my respect for football comes from. Anyone that does it at any level, it's why I've always preferred Messi over Ronaldo, because while Ronaldo's, don't get me wrong, he's a magnificent player who's scored millions of goals, he's a lazy piece of shit who just wants to do his winning for himself, right? Brilliant, but fucking, if I had to choose the two, it would be Messi all day. Messi's got as many assists as he has goals, and it's just, if Pep Guardiola says it, I believe it. In terms of back in those days when it was prime Messi, and this is what I'm talking about when it comes to elite level football, which is the Premier League. Whether it's you look how competitive that division's been, really. From outside relegation, up to the Champions League places. like 9 points, I think, the difference.
Yeah, I
You
know
know,
it's massive.
it's
Yeah, I know.
ridiculous. You know, people will say, "Oh, the Premier League's not been good this year." I disagree with that statement. I think it's got better. And you know, and people go, oh, "Yeah, but look in the early 2000s with Henry and Arsenal and how exciting it was, Man United." I'm like, yeah, but defenders weren't as good. Like,
Yeah, that's the thing. We were talking at work today. Like, if you took players from like the late '90s, early 2000s, would they be as good as they were if they played now? I don't think they would be as
yeah,
good. I think Henry would get marked out of games a lot more than, and the defenders are fitter now. The
yeah,
defenders weren't
a
even nearly
fitter.
as fit as they used to
Don't,
be. They
don't
used
you
to just
wrong.
head the ball away. That was it.
I'm not saying that defenders weren't good back in the day because there were some excellent defenders, but on a whole, the standard of
Oh
football
yeah.
in like because of the athleticism in football now, your
Mhm.
average team in the Premier League are all fit as
Yeah,
fuck and can run,
yeah.
right? So
They're
to
athletes who
actually,
are them footballers.
yeah, it's changed, right? And so, yeah, I don't think it's comparable. I think the game's changed. So you can say that arguably team. So now that statement comes from, you know, working harder is the missing ingredient because the standard
Hmm.
is the standard,
Hmm.
right? Those who
Yeah,
want it
yeah, I agree.
most are the ones that become the most successful, and that's what I want to see. So, look, mate, I wish Burnley all the best in the Championship next season. I hope that you bounce straight back up. I think they're, like I say, in terms of the size of the club, it feels like a very family kind of community-based kind of team that brings people together, and I'm for it. So I'd love you to be up there, whether it be playoffs or automatic promotion, mate. Let's as long as it's
I'll
not
take
Birmingham
either.
City. So if you could smash Birmingham City for us twice next season, I'd appreciate that.
We'll do what we can. I'll put a word in.
Yeah, but just your word. Right, mate. So just the last thing to do before we go, and that is our score predictions. I'll allow you to go first, mate. So as you're the home team, so what are you thinking for this one?
I always want to say we're going to score a goal, but I'm going to go Burnley 1, Villa 3.
Oh, okay, I'll take that. Well, look, I just want the job done. And I'm not going to go big. I just we don't score. I know we scored 4 on Thursday, but it's we've only done it twice this season. I think where we've scored 3 or more goals. So it's not something we do on a weekly basis. Although I'd love us to come and smash you 4-0. So I'm going to go 2-0 Villa. I think we'll go and get the job
Okay.
done. Professional performance. Get 2 goals. Shut up shop. Let's go home and get ready for the European Cup final. There we go. Lee, mate, thank you so much for coming on, mate. It's been
No
a
trouble at
pleasure
all.
chatting to you.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Hopefully, you never know, mate. Next season, FA Cup or whatever, we'll get you back on.
Yeah. FA Cup, League Cup, any cup.
And any cup, mate, we'll get you back on. And I hear there's rumblings that potentially the Finalysis could be in the Championship next season as well. So
I hope so.
the ever growing, fingers crossed. I don't know how true that is, but it would be great if they. I think it has to go that way, right? It's becoming more and more popular. It's being advertised all
Let's
over
hope
the
so.
place now
Let's hope
as
so.
people. So if you haven't already, guys, if you've got to 52 minutes, because from me rambling on, do hit that like button, hit that hype and subscribe button, and go and download Finalysis. Both Lee and I are on it. Go and check out his match report from after the game on Sunday and see what he thinks about it.
Jeez.
Hopefully he's correct. I'm glad that he's predicted a Villa win. That makes me feel a little bit happier on the inside. I don't think I've ever bet against Villa, so you're braver than I am, mate. I'd get hounded if I did. So we'll see you on the next one, guys. And as always, I'm going to try and sing now, but my voice is fucked, right? Because I have been singing for 3 days, but let's see how this goes. Every week we follow the boys in claret and blue. That is fucking horrendous. Peace, everyone.